Well, this topic is a continuation of the topic from your home, Maryada-purushottama. Is anybody here that's in the category of newer and needs a little background information on one of the names of Ramachandra being Maryada-purushottama? Anybody need that? Okay, there's somebody back there. Okay. Huh? Okay. Okay. What are you doing with that?
It's a tune.
Why? Why? You got me instead of that.
I think it's a temple Zoom. It's on.
But
You
the
don't-
temple, the Zoom is picturing me.
Yeah.
But what about what's on the screen?
It's kind of this. You said whichever is there. Yeah. You want to
You
share-
understand my question?
Yeah, I understood. You want to share in the Zoom as well?
Just,
Don't want.
yeah, focus to the slides. Yeah, thank you. Take it away.
Yes.
Thank you.
Just make now.
Okay. Little housekeeping. So today we had a nice program, Ramananda's home program, and the topic was, of course, Lord Ramachandra, and one of the names or ways to identify Ramachandra is Maryada-purushottama, which means that he's Purushottama, he's the ideal example of someone who's living according to codes of conduct found within the Vedas. He follows scriptural rules. Isn't that something that Prabhupada gave as a definition like hundreds of times? Dharma means the codes given by God. And a dharmic person or religious person is one who follows the codes given by God, just like a good citizen follows the laws given by the state. Yes, we've all heard this many times. So Ramchandra is the ideal. And then there are circumstances in the past times of Ramachandra that seem to contradict that. And one of them is the exile of Sita. That's today's topic. And exile means she was sent from Ayodhya. She was sent out into the ashram of Valmiki. And so that's the topic. That seems like contradictory because they were separated for so long, and finally he regained her hand. Now they're again back in Ayodhya, and she becomes pregnant, and he finds out not just that she's pregnant, but there's some gossip out and about. There are different versions of Ramayana, and we're going to hear more than one right now. But the Valmiki Ramayana version is one of the practices that Ramachandra kept was that he, in disguise, of course, how do you disguise somebody that's greenish complexion of body? But he was moving about, wanting to hear what people were saying about the king, him. And he came across a situation where there was a Shudra, a washerman by profession, speaking very strongly to his wife. And he said to his wife, "You were out of the home for a whole night, and you have to leave. You go back to your parents. We're married, lawfully married, and a lawfully married wife doesn't go out of the home and somewhere, who knows where you went. You don't do that. So you can go back to your father. I'm not going to be a hand-packed fellow like Ramachandra. Sita was away with another man's home for some period of time, and he accepted her back, a hand-packed male. I'm not that kind. So Ramchandra heard this, and when he came back to Ayodhya, he thought what to do, because he knew what the situation was, but people out in the street may not know. And largely, he was moved by his love for Sita. They're eternal associates, after all. So he was moved by that fact. At the same time, or on the other hand, he had the function of being a king. And in the function of the king, specifically a king in the dynasty Ikshvaku, the Sun dynasty, that means he and his ancestry were given charge of planet Earth to protect it. And he had to set the right kind of standard. And so if a Shudra is going to say like this, then I have to tell Sita that she has to, even she's pregnant, she has to leave. And so he made the arrangement. The arrangement was that Sumantra, who was the chariot driver in many of Dasarath, and then in turn to Lord Ramachandra, the royal service of driving the chariot. The microphone stand has a disease, the dropsies. You're familiar. Because I'll leave it, and then it's going to start to sag. I can hold it. That's what I'll do. That's what I'll do. I'll just hold it. Good sound effects, huh? So here's the situation. Sumantra, we're going to go to this story. Sita's exiled. Contradiction. He who strictly follows Vedic rules, he exiled his pregnant wife. That sounds wrong. From Padma Purana, there's a very large section that's describing this pastime. And the washerman's name was Krodana. The problem is right here. So, Krodana was the one who was complaining about his wife. And Ramchandra heard. So, while driving the chariot, it's Lakshmana is with Sita and with Sumantra, and they're driving the chariot, and Sita's in the back. And Lakshmana is having this conversation with Sumantra. How is it that he who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who with but a twist of his wrist, he can create another universe, and he's all powerful, he's the omnipotent personality of Godhead, and this foolish person makes this gossip talk, and he's sending Sita to the forest, pregnant. Could you explain? No, it's speaking to the... So, found in Padma Purana is this passage where Sumantra says, long ago, I was driving the chariot of Dasarath. And who would we find along the trail but Durvasa Muni? And Durvasa Muni was having a conversation with your father. And Durvasa Muni shared the following story. Do you know who your daughter was before she was your daughter? Because where did Sita come from? Sita came from the earth by plowing the field. And so Durvasa Muni said that's how Janaka gave her her name. She came from the earth. So who was Sita before she was Sita? And then Durvasa Muni, this is, it's a story within the story within the story. Sumantra is telling the story of what Durvasa Muni said to his father, Lakshmana's father. So the story goes like this. In a previous yuga, there was the composition of Ramayana, and your daughter let me get the chronology correct. Your daughter was with her sister. Urmila was the sister of Sita. Urmila and Sita, sisters, and two other girls. And they were playing, which is young girls will do. They were playing in a garden area. And while they were playing, there were two parrots sitting on a branch. And when the parrots were sitting on the branch, this is not who Sita was in her previous life, it's who the washerman was in his previous life. So the parrots were narrating Ramayana because they were present when Valmiki was composing Ramayana. When composing Ramayana, he didn't just write, he sang. And the parrots heard, and the parrots repeated, because that's what parrots do. And they were singing before Sita was married, because Valmiki had the capacity, like Vyasadeva, to know perfectly past, present, future. Trikalagya. So Valmiki, was composing the Sita's marriage before Sita was married. She was just a young girl. And she heard about her marriage. And she heard the name of the man that she was going to marry, and heard the circumstance of how, and the birds, the male and female parrots, were reciting. So Sita wanted to hear more. And the parrots replied, we can't tell you more, we're parrots. We only can tell you what we heard. And Sita wasn't satisfied with that. So she put them in a cage, ordering them, you tell me. But we can't tell you because we don't know more than what we heard. And one of the birds was a male and the other parrot was female, and the female was pregnant. And so the male bird said, my wife is pregnant, you can't put her in this. So Sita let the male bird out of the cage, and the female bird was now in the cage, separated from her husband. And there was a discussion between the two, and there's details and details. You should be receiving a document, if you haven't already received it, that gives some of these details that I'm narrating in more details. The female became very angry and she cursed Sita. You are going to have to be separated from your husband when you're pregnant, as I am being separated from my husband, but while I'm pregnant. And the male bird, who was now in the cage, and the female bird gave up her life in the cage. The male bird, in his next life, he became the washerman. And this was told by Bhrgu Muni to Dasarath, and Dasarath heard the whole narration. And now Sumantra is repeating what he heard from Bhrgu Muni. And so the mystery of how it is, because the question, this narration was prompted by Lakshmana's question. How can Ramachandra, who's so powerful, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's controller of everything, become subject to this small-time gossip? Because it was predicted by Bhrgu Muni. And that which is predicted by a sage or foreseen by a sage is going to happen. And that's what we're doing right now. We're bringing Sita to the forest because it was ordained in advance. So here's the text that says what I just said. And you'll receive a document that says much more than this. There's a further backstory. Like the further backstory is from Madhvacharya. Does anybody here need a little background in who is Madhvacharya? This young man, do you know who is Madhvacharya? Do you know? Yes or no? Do you know who is Madhvacharya? You're staring, but you're not answering. Madhvacharya was an acharya. He was a great teacher. And one of his gifts, he had many gifts, he's very gifted at developing a vast library. And he was extremely knowledgeable. And one of the things that he writes about is the Valmiki Ramayana was 24,000 verses. Within Valmiki Ramayana, it is said that Valmiki, received full knowledge of the entire Mula Ramayana, which is 1 billion verses from Lord Brahma. That's a lot of verses. What they are, and to understand it all and to remember it all. That was a gift from Lord Brahma to Valmiki. So Valmiki wrote a shorter version, 24,000 verses. But parts of that original Mula Ramayana, there's details and details that Madhvacharya writes about. This little passage that I just narrated that's found in Padma Purana is from that original Mula Ramayana. So, it's layers and layers and layers. The important point is what Krodana said was predicted by Bhrgu Muni. Now, I'm going to provide you with this one of 6 reasons why the exile of Sita it happened the way that it happened. According to Valmiki Ramayana, in the final, the Uttara section of Valmiki Ramayana, there's a section where it is said by Valmiki in Uttara Ramayana that at one point in time, Sita requested Ram, when that time comes, when we return to Ayodhya, after we return to Ayodhya, I would like to spend some time in the forest with the sages. She didn't say specifically while I'm pregnant, but according to the Sri Vaishnavacharyas, what she was referring to it was during her pregnancy, she would be in such a serene place in the forest with sages, or amongst the sages. It was her desire. Her being sent to the forest was her desire, according to Valmiki Ramayana and the commentators, Sri Vaishnava commentators. A third reason why this took place, those of you that were at Ramananda's home, you know there was a problem with Vali and Sugriva, because Sugriva had made an offense to Lakshmana. If you weren't there, you can listen to the recording, but Ramachandra doesn't say, you're an offender, Sugriva, you're an offender, but tacitly, he was an offender. The offense was not properly respecting Lakshmana. On two separate occasions, there was a meeting between Sugriva, the Monkey King, and Ramachandra. So Sugriva, made a proper sitting place for Ramachandra and a proper sitting place for himself, and didn't provide the same sitting place for Lakshmana twice. So he was not properly respecting, or disrespect is not proper respecting is disrespect. Twice, you're the offender to Lakshmana. And so you're an offender and Vali is an offender. So the correction of the defense was that Lakshmana made a garland and garlanded him, and Sugriva had to bow down before Lakshmana to receive the garland. And this way, the offense was cleared. Lakshmana to the offender. And therefore his offense being cleared, now I can tell the difference between the two. You have a nice garland to boot, made by none other than Lakshmana. So, similarly, Sita offended Lakshmana, big time, much bigger than what Sugriva did. And by the offense to Lakshmana, there was consequence. And so when the plan arranged and conspired by Ravana and his unwilling assistant, Marichi, assuming the form of the golden deer, etc., 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 you all know the story. And Sita wanted the deer to bring back to Ayodhya as like a pet deer. So Ramachandra, because they're nearing the conclusion of their 14 years in the forest, so if they have a pet deer, that would be nice, a golden deer that this and that, and sparkled and looked like a rainbow, and a super deer. So Ramachandra said, no, there's no such deer as that. It's a trick. And she insisted. So, hearing her insistence, the loving husband said, Lakshman, you stay here and guard Sita, make sure she's well protected, I'll go catch the deer. If it's a demon, I'll kill the deer. And if it's not a demon, but it's actually just spectacular deer, I'll bring the deer back. So off he went. And then Sita started accusing Lakshmana of having ill intentions towards her. You know the story. And he spoke she spoke really harshly, like vilification. And it hurt because he's just the servant of Ram, and there's no question of anything other than the service to Ram. And what are you saying? But that made her even more angry, and she threatened to kill herself if he didn't go and protect Ram. So this, you know the story. He's making the tip of his bow and making a Lakshman Rekha, a circle around the cottage where they were staying. Don't step outside of this. And you stay inside, you're protected. And Ravana enticed her to step outside of that circle. So the message, the third message, don't mess with Lakshman. Respect Lakshman. And he's worthy of all respect. The representative of the personality of Godhead is to be respected like the personality of Godhead. Don't do that, and it's a disrespect. And there's consequences. So be careful. The text says, the personality of Godhead can tolerate an offense made against him, but not against such a devotee as Lakshmana, his dearmost devotees. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we're all followers of Rupa Goswami, so we know some of these teachings. In description of Bhava Bhakti, even one who has attained the stage of Bhava Bhakti, just preliminary to Prema Bhakti, can be destroyed by offense. And there's these two offenses, offending Krishna himself or offending the devotee who is dear to Krishna. And of the two, offending those who are dear to Krishna is considered by Krishna to be even worse. And so bhava is destroyed. So Sita's problem came as a result. There's another document. I'll narrate a little bit what's in that other document. But there was an incident where Vishnu killed the wife of Bhrgu Muni. And the circumstance was the demons and demigods they battle it out every now and then. And in one circumstance, the demigods prevailed, and the demons had to flee for their life. So one of the demons was took shelter of Khyati. So the demons, the demigods said, "Help! We're chasing after this demon, but he's taken shelter of the wife of Bhrgu Muni." And so Indra had paralyzed the demons. And she permitted it. She was giving shelter to the demons that had been paralyzed by Indra. So they appealed to Vishnu, "Help." So he came to hit the wife of Bhrigu and chopped her head with the Sudarshan chakra. There's a document, you can read the details. It's from Brahma Kanda section of Padma Purana. So Bhrigu cursed Vishnu. As I have had loss of my wife, separated from my wife, Vishnu will also be separated from his wife at some point in time. And the words of a Brahmana are honored by Lord Vishnu. Complicated, huh? We're not done yet. Ramayana narration is a little different, the event preceding Bhrigu's curse, and hearing that Kyati had given shelter to the Asuras when they were pursued in battle with the Devas, Vishnu cut off her head with his chakra. So she, the wife of Bhrgu, was giving shelter. That's different than this Purana reference. You have killed my innocent spouse, so you will take birth in the mortal world and meet with separation from your wife for many years. So the narration is a little different. The details are therefore a little different reference source, but the same principle. And there's 6 points. Number 5. This is something that I learned when the early stages of hearing about Sita's being banished to the forest. He, Ramachandra, was capable of placing the interest of his citizens above his own interest, as a good leader will or a good king will do. The welfare of the citizens is honored more than his own welfare. So he sacrificed his own happiness for the protection and welfare of his citizens. Similarly, if Sita hadn't been sent to the forest, she would have had to hear, and the child or children that were born of her would also be subject to gossip. She'd have to hear people say bad things about her. And the children born of her would have to hear bad things said about mom and dad. And specifically about mom. So he didn't want that. So he sent her to the forest. And here's the final one. There's Madhvacharya again. And in Madhvacharya's writings, again, it's from that section of Mula Ramayana that's not preserved and presented within Valmiki Ramayana. Although Valmiki knew it, he just wrote a shorter version. The history goes like this. There was a demon that did great austerities. And the demon knew that if I asked for immortality, Lord Brahma isn't going to give me that benediction. So what he asked for, he was very clever. As long as Lakshmi and Narayan are united, I cannot die. Thinking that they're always united. So it's indirectly asking for eternal life. He asked for that benediction. So therefore, during that period of time when Ram was separated from Sita, that's when Indra killed the demon. And then Ram had planned he would again call her back. So after the boys were born and trained by Valmiki and trained in military skills and trained in leadership skills and trained in Ramayana and trained in music and, all of the arts that a guru would train his dependents, they became ready to take on the kingdom from Ramachandra after a long time, when they were young, mature boys. And then they came back to Ayodhya and recited Ramayana. And Ram heard the recitation and thought, wow, who are these boys? These are your sons. As if he didn't know. So those are 6 explanations. Any one of them, especially this first one, who the washerman was in his previous life, the male parrot, who's now in a get-back mood at Ramachandra to create this separation between him and Sita. in short, back to the theme, Maryada-purushottama, there's an explanation of why what Ramachandra did that by some are questioned, why this, why that. How can he be the person of ideal? How can he be a person of ideal character with these behaviors? That's not ideal. So why is he called Maryada-purushottama? So there's explanations for each one of those situations. My dear devotees, that's the presentation for the Sunday program. Let's see if there's some comments or questions or doubts or, yeah. No, she was out for an evening. That's my understanding. Now, if there's another version, I don't know about it. Yes, yes. Don't mess with Lakshmana. Well, there's answers to each of those. He, Ramachandra, was the ideal character example, and he had concerns in addition to his own affection for his wife. He had concern about the stain on the name of the dynasty which he was in, the Ikshvaku dynasty. And there should be not a stain on the dynasty in which he was found, because there was gossip, and so you stand up to gossip and say, harumph, gossip. Now, in modern politics, people mudslinging all the time, left and right and sideways. No, they don't think about it. They just that's the lifestyle. But in the ideal character, it's a concern. Now, just rumor, and you do something extreme like this, you're protecting the reputation of the dynasty. It's not him. It's not her. It's the dynasty, the stainless dynasty. So decisions may be made. There's another identical example, when Sita was brought before Ramachandra after he killed Ravana. You know that narration. You know the narration when Ramachandra sent, according to Valmiki Ramayana, there's different Ramayanas. Ram sent Hanuman, his messenger, informed Sita, Ravana is dead. so she doesn't need to worry anymore because Ravana's dead. But it wasn't like, I want to see Sita. It was the mood changed from the reunion of lovers after 11 months of being separated, from Ravana kidnapping her and all of what he went through to search for Sita. Now there's Sita in the Ashok Grove. He knows where. Tell Sita, Ravana's dead. And then bring Sita. Next, bring Sita. So Sita was like, where's my husband? Why did you come instead of him? So, because Ram, according to Valmiki Ramayana and the commentators, similar, not same, but similar. For the whole Valmiki Ramayana, he was not referred to as the king. And now he's being referred to as the king. Because he, Ramachandra, switched, priorities. I'm the king, and I have to preserve the reputation, the good name of our dynasty as the representative of that dynasty. So he then brought Sita and have her bathed and dressed in fine ornaments and as a queen, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she was saying, he should see me like this. I've been like this for 11 months. She had only one, it was like a whole story. She had only one cloth, and she cried continuously, and there was stain from her tears on her cloth. She had bathed in 11 months. And now he wants her to bathe and be dressed nicely in nice attire, and ornaments and da-da-da-da-da, and the finest, finest, finest. So like, what's going on? Sita. And when she comes before him, it's in a palanquin, and he brings Sita out of the palanquin. He doesn't even look at her. I mean, he's the king protecting the reputation of his dynasty. Mood, not reunion of lover and beloved. And says to her, I didn't come here to redeem you. I came to protect the reputation of the Ikshvaku dynasty. What? And it said, and many other things. It's right in Valmiki Ramayana. Many other things like that. Like, he changed. What's going on? And then, then it came out. It must be known to the world that you're pure. You haven't been spoiled. You haven't been tainted by being separate from me for 11 months. So the trial by fire. And it was demonstrated, and that was it. The reputation of the dynasty, that the duty of the king had been performed, which he put that above his own desires and her desires, the love of the lover and beloved. It's like Romeo and Juliet, times a million, transcendental love. So he placed the duty of a king above, as here.
Okay. You enlightened me quite a bit about Ramayana, but I still have the same question. Okay, you're a sannyasi. Somebody's criticizing you about something.
Well, that's me.
I know, but I'm saying, how do we apply it to life?
Well, you tolerate it.
Okay, so but he did something. He listened to them.
And that was exactly what Lakshmana's question is. He could turn the world upside down and create another one. Why is he doing like this? That was his question. Why is he, Krishna says tolerate. And we are also, because we're in the world of duality, we tolerate heat and cold and pleasure, pain and honor and dishonor, and we tolerate duality because that's what you do when you're facing duality. You're in the realm of duality. That's the recommendation. You know where you draw the line? Ramachandra drew that line. Then besides the Dharma, there's the Leela and the exchange of love in a very, very special way. You know, then we're not Leela performers. We're Dharma performers. And the Dharma that is given to us for this particular age is you tolerate. And set the right example so that as time passes, the person is not guilty of that if they're not guilty of that. If they are guilty of that, then that's another thing. But if they're not guilty of that, a rumor, it's just rumor. Then people are going to do what they're going to do because it's Kali Yuga. Okay? How do we apply it? That's how we apply it. You tolerate it.
Different, we don't, right, tolerating makes perfect sense, but we can't do the same things to listen to fools and somebody.
That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. I mean, Prabhupada set that standard. People would criticize him for X, Y, Z. And what can you do? That he would say, what can you do? You have to do what Krishna wants. You have to do what the disciplic succession wants. And you do that. And people are going to criticize. You know in advance people are going to criticize. You do it.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. What was Mother Sita's mood at that time? Did she feel that she was abandoned by Lord Ramchandra, or she took it respectively and she accepted it? Like,
what do you
was
think?
Her mood?
What do you think?
So, as you said, there are various versions of Ramayana.
Yes.
So, another version from the Manas, Ramcharitmanas, that's written by Saint Tulsidas, how it is explained is that actually she did not even wait for Lord Ramchandra to make the decision. She made the decision herself that I don't want you to be in a position of taking this stigma on the dynasty because of me. I would rather like to go to the hermitage.
Okay.
So
Ramananda is nodding vigorously. He's a fan of Ramcharitmanas also. He's confirming. So, there are different versions. Now, in Valmiki Ramayana, I'm not well read in Valmiki Ramayana as many are. My understanding from a distance is she was astonished. But she accepted because she's the faithful wife. But she was like, it's a rasa. Astonishment is a rasa. And she was astonished, but also primarily in the mood of being the beloved wife. That's my understanding from Valmiki Ramayana perspective. Ramananda.
Related to the aparadha offenses, Mother Sita, Lakshman, that was very harsh.
Why what?
That offense was really harsh,
Yeah,
severe.
yeah, very serious.
But on the other hand, Sugriva's offense against the Lakshman, it may be the
It's death penalty.
so it may be unknowingly just, and Lakshman was so much in service mode. I don't think he must have taken as a pain or anything, but that offense was taken by the Lord Ram.
Yeah. So well, you got it right. Lord Ramachandra, I can be offended, but don't offend my dear devotee. I won't tolerate it.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. I had a quick question on the two parrots.
On the two parrots.
Yes, so the two parrots were listened to Valmiki Ramayana, obviously, right? Since
In the forest.
Since they were, and they recited it to the degree that they knew. Right?
Yeah, yes, right.
So obviously they were purified by listening to Valmiki himself.
Yeah.
But why would then they be born as a Shudra? I mean, I would think they would be much more purified by just listening.
Well,
to
it was a
Valmiki.
get back.
I'm sorry.
Purified people can slip and fall, right?
Mm.
It was, I want to get back at Sita,
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, I get it.
because she put my wife,
I see.
and my wife died of separation.
I see.
I want to get back at her.
Yes, I get it now. Thank you.
You know,
So
get
the-
back mentality is
yeah, the get back
skullduggery.
mentality. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
You look very enthusiastic.
I'm
Oh, you're running out of
no,
time.
may not be like
Okay, go ahead.
no, very nice lecture.
Not so loud. Softer.
Hare Krishna Maharaj,
That's
very
much
nice
better.
lecture.
Thank you.
So one thing I have only a question. So you said not properly respecting is equal to disrespecting.
Yes.
So here is what you know that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami wrote, like when Krishna is the original Lord, Supreme Lord, and then from him, like different incarnation came. Like say Balaram is the next
Yeah,
incarnation.
etc. Right.
So all the they're the I think Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami mentioned they are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah.
But for the purpose of pastime, they took the role of the elder brother and other took the role of the younger brother. So my question is that like, I can talk for myself, like when he say, if we are told that, okay, respect equally Krishna and Balaram or Gaur or Nitai, I mean, for my mind, I can only respect, like, give my utmost respect to one, if I have to divide it, like,
No, it's not divided. What's that? It's not divided. It's respect. And the expansion is to be respected.
of course I respect, but
Okay.
I respect Mahaprabhu as Supreme Lord or Krishna as Supreme Lord, but Balaram cannot-
Don't mess with Nityananda either. Because Mahaprabhu's got his chakra ready. You're gonna chop your head. Nityananda's the one that stopped him. It's okay? And there's another pastime where Balaram was not respected. Ooh. Don't mess with Balaram, Nityananda, and Vibhishan. Lakshmana. Don't mess. Consequences. And you can say, yeah, but my binary processor is either a 1 or a 0. Don't make that mistake. The representative of is to be. It's right in our prayers to the spiritual master by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that we sing every time we perform Gora Arti. Guru Puja. Sakshad Hari Tvena Samasta Shastri. You know the verse, so then you can say, well, I can't do that. I can honor the deity, or I can honor Prabhupada, but I can't honor Prabhupada like I honor the deity. I can't do that. But my binary processor doesn't go there. You got a problem. Okay? Got it? You sure? You're not sure?
Because I think Prabhupada, I do respect, but he is the guru. He is not the God.
No, but he's not. But he's the representative of. Guru means representative of. That was Lakshmana. Lakshmana and Hanuman, those both, representative of.
So we respect Nityananda as guru or
You must.
Balaram as guru.
That's all scriptures say. And if you say, well, I can't.
Then I can.
Okay,
I just
okay.
cannot. I cannot. I'm saying. So we should not respect him as Supreme Lord, like Nityananda Balaram. We should respect him as Guru.
I suggest you read and meditate on the the prayers that Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur has provided us for worshiping of the spiritual master. And read that line and meditate on it. And then take it inside. Okay, we're going to end. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.